Hello. This is a bit of a vlog, and it's the first time I've done it, but it's a wee bit of a rant, although I don't mean it to be. But what I want to talk about is talking to people and really talking. Uh, and it seems to me that the kind of current culture that we have is that we don't want to talk to people about things that need to be talked about for fear of offence or offending people. And an example that I can give is to let you know I'm in a wheelchair, which people are, but I wanted to do something, and I really thought that I could do it quite well. And when I spoke about it, it was, well, we'll talk about it later. And then later came, and the person still said, oh, I still haven't got time to talk about it. And I think there's behind the being made to wait, I think, and as I say, maybe this is just my perception of it, but I think it was, well, we're not too sure, about, it says in right, Robbie, we're not too sure about how your disability is going to affect what you're doing. It was just completely dismissed. Okay, I'm in a wheelchair, but it doesn't stop me doing things. It doesn't stop me being the same person that I was before I was in the wheelchair. And my wheelchair is not about my disability. It's a tool to help me get about, to help me maintain my independence. And it seems to me it's not grassroots people who have problems. It's professional people who have this fear that if they bring up disability, or you may do what you want to do but need a little help with it, that somehow you're going to go from, the person that you are, who gets out and about, who does things, to suddenly being needy, to suddenly becoming in a nanosecond needy. And, why is there this fear and why is there this perception? And as I say, it seems to be professional people who, work in social care, stroke, healthcare, who, and I don't know whether it's to do with our training, but it just seems to be that, it's, just, we don't talk about it in case it brings things up, in case it brings up issues, in case it brings up, well, everybody has issues, everybody has things that might impede them doing things, but it shouldn't stop them doing things. It shouldn't stop people doing things. If you want to do something and you're given a chance to do it and then it doesn't work out, then that's fine. That's not about your ability to do it. That's just, things don't work out. And another thing seems to be that, you say to somebody, oh, I'm having a rubbish day. Well, everybody has a rubbish day, is what you're told. Or I'm feeling depressed. Well, everybody gets depressed. And we know that. And we know people have rubbish days, and we know that people get depressed. But sometimes, and again, this is no ranting, but sometimes if you're disabled, sometimes a rubbish day can be a wee bit more rubbish. Not for the reason that you're disabled, but just sometimes that it's, a wee bit more difficult to do things. And somebody said to me today, oh, you've got to get on with it, haven't you? And I thought to myself, here am I in a shopping mall, my wheelchair laden with carrier bags, and I'm being told I've got to get on with it. And it's like, well, what have I been doing for the past couple couple of hours. And as I say, I think the society that we live in today precludes us from talking about things that we don't want to offend. Robbie might be offended if we say, well, Robbie, there might be difficulties in you doing this, or, whatever. But I'd rather, even if somebody was brutally honest and said, well, Robbie, I don't think it's it's right for you. But then we could talk about it. We could say, well, why isn't it right? Or why, do you think I can't do it? And, I'm much more offended at the fact that people do wave things away and people do say, well, Robert, we'll talk about it later. And then there's no time to talk. And it just seems to be this whole thing about, shoving things under the table that need to be spoken about. They don't need to be dwelt on all the time. And, it's not about being a martyr. It's not about being a hypochondriac. It's not about anything like that. It's just, 7 years ago, I had an amputation. And I'm still the same person, except I've just got 1.5 legs. But, it seems to be, and, I've walked, and I walked with a prosthetic limb for 5 years. And, but my stump just kept ulcerating. But, I shouldn't really have to justify that, and I shouldn't really have to explain. But you always do, and then there's this perception that, well, really, can you not walk? Really, can you not try? Well, I've done it, and I've, and again, you've almost got to constantly justify your existence and justify, why you do things. And really, if you get down to brass tacks, it's really nobody's business what I decide to do if it's not impacting on your life. If I'm not related to you or your partner or have very limited interaction with you, then why should it matter? And I think, the question needs to be asked, if you don't know me or you have very little interaction, how does what I do and my decision affect you as a person who's not related to me, as I say, who's not, who I'm not partnered with or anything like that? So, why does it matter? Why can't things just be taken as a given? And I think perhaps it's me as well, that I have maybe a heightened sensitivity, or my perceptions are a wee bit heightened, or I'm uber sensitive. I don't know. Maybe I'm the first 60-year-old snowflake. I don't know. But, it just is, don't hide things. Talk about things. And, don't bottle up your emotions, because, there are so many people who have mental health issues, and some of those mental health issues are linked to not talking about things, by being frightened to talk about things for fear of the reaction. Sometimes I feel that it's not an amputation that I've had, but a lobotomy. And again, please don't think I'm ranting, and I know if you're watching this, it sounds, oh, here's Robbie having a rant, but I'm doing this to save ranting. I'm doing this to save myself from really exploding in public or somewhere that I don't want to do it. And I suppose this is my way of venting. Sorry, I had itchy nose there. I don't know what happened. But just, let's kind of stop this fear of offending people by talking about things, this fear of if we talk about the problem, then the person who has the problem is going to start, because being needy, or, if we help the person that's talking about it, that's another thing that, there's this perception that if you ask for help, you're going to be doing it every single day. You're going to be, an example I can give is I was at the hospital outpatients clinic for a heart procedure. So the procedure was finished and I got off the bed onto the chair and the foot plate of my wheelchair came off. So as I was putting it back on, the healthcare professional said, I can't help you with that because you need to do it when you go home. Now, A, I didn't ask for help, and B, the perception was that if I had got this help, then every time my wheelchair foot plate fell off, I would be phoning the hospital, oh, help, and it seems to be this inbuilt or a professional kind of fear that, you have to maintain independence. And, myself and other disabled people, for want of a better term, do it all the time. We get up in the morning, we go out, we dance, we sing, we eat, drink, pee, do whatever we need to do. And, sometimes it's a struggle, but we manage. And, everybody needs help. But, if, I don't know, and I would like to know why there's this kind of fear that you're going to lose independence if you ask for help, or there are expectations that you're going to ask for help. Now, I go to an organisation for people with mental health issues once a week, and people do say to me, are you sure you can manage, or we will open the door for you? And I say no, because I know that I have to do it myself. And I know people are trying to be helpful. And, it's not helpful for people constantly to be opening doors for me. But, I open it, or if somebody does open the door for me, I thank them very much and move on. But I don't sit at the door waiting for somebody to open the door. And what I feel like doing is saying to an able-bodied person who asks me for help, well, no, I'm sorry. You have to do this yourself. You have to maintain your independence. And why do I have to maintain my independence? Is the whole fabric of society going to crumble because I don't? The only fabric of society that's going to crumble is my fabric of society. And I just want to let people know now that I'm not going to be needy, anytime soon. And it's only going to be very advanced old age or advanced infirmity. So, to end this rant, this oblique blog, to quote the words of a song, if you don't happen to like me, pass me by. Thank you for viewing.